Genius is not a coincidence. It is not luck. It is not a gift handed at birth. The greatest minds in history train their mind deliberately, relentlessly, and often in isolation. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet spent his nights writing reminders to himself about discipline, restraint, and control. Leonardo da Vinci filled thousands of pages with questions, sketches, and observations, not because he lacked intelligence, but because he never allowed his mind to become passive. Isaac Newton isolated himself for years, working in silence so deep that the world forgot him existed. Nikola Tesla walked alone at night, visualizing machines entirely in his mind, before ever touching material. Albert Einstein spent years thinking about the same problems that others abandoned after weeks. These men were not united by intelligence alone. They were united by how they trained their mind. The first thing geniuses mastered was solitude. Marcus Aurelius deliberately withdrew from courtly noise. Newton left society entirely during the plague years. Tesla avoided crowds. They understood something modern society has forgotten. Constant social input weakens thought. Solitude is not loneliness. It is a training ground. In silence, the mind sharpens. In isolation, original thought emerges. The second way geniuses trained their mind was deep focus. Newton worked on single problems for years. Einstein described thinking as playing with ideas for long, uninterrupted periods. Leonardo became obsessed with details others ignored. They did not multitask. They did not chase stimulation. They trained sustained attention, the rarest skill in any era. Most people stop thinking when it becomes uncomfortable. Geniuses stay. The third discipline was emotional control. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about mastering anger, fear, and desire. Seneca warned that uncontrolled emotion turns intelligence into weakness. Geniuses did not suppress emotion. They observed it. They understood that emotion distorts perception, and distorted perception leads to bad decisions. A calm mind sees clearly. A reactive mind is blind. The fourth way geniuses trained their mind was thinking independently. Leonardo questioned accepted anatomy. Galileo challenged cosmology. Einstein rejected Newtonian absolutes. They did not accept truth by consensus. They accepted truth by reason. This required courage. Independent thinking isolates you. It removes validation. It creates enemies. But every breakthrough in history began as an isolated thought. The fifth discipline was writing and externalizing thought. Marcus Aurelius wrote meditations for himself, not for history. Leonardo used notebooks to trap ideas before they escaped. Darwin refined his theories through endless written revisions. Writing forces clarity. A thought that cannot be written clearly is not fully understood. Geniuses did not trust memory. They built systems to think outside the brain. The sixth way geniuses trained their mind was visualization. Tesla designed entire machines mentally before construction. Einstein visualized riding beams of light. Leonardo sketched mechanisms repeatedly to refine them internally. Visualization strengthens abstract thinking. It allows experimentation without cost. A strong mind can simulate reality before acting. The seventh discipline was acceptance of intellectual discomfort. Newton embraced confusion. Einstein lived with unanswered questions for decades. Leonardo left works unfinished rather than rush false conclusions. They did not fear not knowing. Most people panic when certainty disappears. Geniuses remain calm. Confusion is not weakness. It is the doorway to understanding. The eighth way geniuses trained their mind was long-term thinking. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself of mortality to avoid short-term ego. Einstein worked on theories that offered no immediate reward. Leonardo pursued knowledge that had no market value in his lifetime. They invested in thought, not applause. They understood that true power compounds silently. The ninth discipline was self-observation. Stoic philosophers studied their own reactions. Einstein examined his cognitive biases. Leonardo documented his mistakes openly. They treated the mind as a system to refine. You cannot master what you refuse to examine. The final and most important way geniuses trained their mind was consistency. They showed up daily, not when inspired, not when praised. Marcus Aurelius wrote even when exhausted by war. Newton calculated in isolation. Einstein worked despite years of rejection. Genius is not intensity. It is endurance. This is the truth history makes clear. The greatest minds were not extraordinary because of talent alone. They were extraordinary because they lived differently. They chose silence over noise, depth over speed, discipline over impulse. If you train your mind the way they did, you stop being controlled by the world. And when the mind is trained, power becomes inevitable. This is how geniuses train their mind. Welcome to Dominus Mind.